Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today is a quick sort of look through the pre-order of what a Cowboy we recently received. Again, hats off to Rich Clark and the Two Fat Lardies and that for getting this product out early. It was supposed to be released after Salute. I believed it was meant to be available at Salute as well. So if you've gone as long to Salute this weekend, you're going to pick this product up and that. But yeah, hats off to the guys, Rich and that, and they got it out early. And I have to say, initial sort of thoughts and that, it is a very, very good product and that. This isn't going to be a detailed review or anything like that. It's just a very quick overview. So what you get in the pre-order? Well, pre-order bundle we had was the PDF, that's also to come. But what you got was the rulebook, the game deck, which obviously comes in this nicely artworked printed card box, which includes the Desperado deck and the game deck. And you also get 2 token packs of Bonanza tokens, which you can play during the course of the game. MDF tokens done by Warbases, as you can see, and they are really, really nice. Nice thick sort of MDF and that printed on there. Yeah, it's printed MDF, so yeah, really, really cool. Love those. Then we've got the game deck, and these are basically hearts and spades that come in, are basically same from like a normal deck of cards. And these cards are used to activate your characters and that through the game. So one side will obviously have red and the other side will have the black. So yeah, really, really cool. Like that, like the way that's done. So yeah, really, really cool, love that. Nice little bit of flavour, and that adds a bit of character and that to the game. And the next deck in the pack is the Desperado deck. And these are like basically fake cards and that. These are sort of dished out, they've got sort of actions on them. These are dished out to your characters at the start of a game. If you're playing a campaign game, these can be earned. And they can be played at any time during the game turn, and obviously they've all got their own sort of actions and they tell you what you can do on them. And it's really, really cool. Just adds that little bit of extra narrative and that for your games. So yeah, that's the Desperado deck. Nicely printed card, nice quite sort of thick, solid sort of stock card and that for playing cards. Again, really, really quality product. So next up then we have a rule book. As I said, it's not going to be a full in-depth review. It's just a quick look, flick through, so you guys can get to see what the rule book looks like. And we'll sort of talk about 1 or 2 things from there. On the back cover, we got the artwork's absolutely lovely throughout. Again, I've got to say this, War Cowboy's fast-paced, exciting game of Hollywood-inspired gunfighting in the Wild West. And it really is. I said I've played a couple of demo games with John Savage around at the shows. A really good fun game. I mean, I've played many Wild West games, and this is, I think, does add a lot of character and flavour in that what they've done. John's done a fantastic job putting this together. The artwork, as I said, I think is really cool. Reminds me of the Red Dead Redemption. If you guys play any of the PC games, PlayStation, Xbox games, Red Dead Redemption, you definitely will get that. What do I mean by that? It's really, really cool. And that's inspired throughout the whole book. Contents, glossary of terms, some of the terms used in the game. The basics you'll need, obviously the dice, 6-sided dice, normal standard 6-sided dice. 2 different colours is advisable, 1 for your action dice and 1 set for your game dice. But it's, you know, it's not necessary if you haven't got that. The game deck and obviously the character panel. Hopefully the Two Fat Lardies have put one of the panel to download, or just draw up your own really, not that difficult. Ways of balancing the game through for your games. The ride or die test, obviously if your gang stays around on the battlefield. What the action dice are, so obviously most characters will have 6 action dice to start with, and these are the numbers on these are denoted what they can do. So like a 1 on a d6 for your action dice is at move, 2 is a spot, 3 is an aim, and so forth. Moving's pretty straightforward, as all Two Fat Lardies games are. And there are things for, you know, I got one there for like carrying heavy loads, going up and down stairs or ladders, removing pin tokens, climbing and jumping and fall tests. So all the sort of things you would imagine, sort of like a Wild West sort of Hollywood style jumping. There you are, jumping across the train wagon there onto the coal tender there. Tasks is another thing in Two Fat Lardies rules. If you play Chain of Command or Sharp Practice, you'll understand what the tasks are. So basically, if you don't, it's basically anything you can think might require an action. So they got here, loading a wagon's a difficult action. So again, at the top there, you've got a task number for difficult. You need an 8. So you roll a d6, and you can spend more movement actions to be able to increase the number of dice to be able to get that up. But yeah, I mean, it's once you've received that value, you can continue, and it's done. The action's done. The task is done. In control test for your horses, riding your horses. That's cool. Spotting table to be able to see your targets. So that's a number 2 on your action dice. You can use number 2 to spot. Aiming, so number 3 on your action dice is an aim. Again, all the headings and that corresponds with the dice numbers of your action dice. So again, it makes it quite sort of easy to follow through. One thing I will say, I'll just pause here for a second. One thing I will say, and I did say it to Rich and that on the What Cowboy post, I do like how he's done the font he's used and the spacing between each lines of the fonts, between each line of the text. If someone who wears very focal glasses, and that makes it a lot easier to read. A lot of rule books I find these days gives me headaches reading because of the fonts and that they use. So hats off to Rich and that for the presentation. Dodging, you know, stumbling, doing multiple shot, double-barreled shotguns and that sort of things. Effects, getting wounded, getting shocked or getting wounded, critically wounded. It's all the usual things you'd expect from a Wild West sort of skirmish game. Well, any sort of skirmish game, really. Trick shooting, look, like that. Hollywood stunts. So everything seems to be catered for. You know, if you're like me, when I grew up as a kid and that, used to watch the Sunday matinees and that, John Wayne's, you know, and obviously later on, watching the Clint Eastwood films and that, you know, so we all sort of know what we like in that from our films. Bonanza tokens, use them as an interrupt. Fast draws, that's what your bonanza tokens for, a fast draw, a gamble. And this is I quite like, henchmen. So obviously henchmen are in groups of, as you can see here, on a base of with 3 figures on them. And again, they could be quite sort of used to tie down an objective or something like that. So that's pretty cool. Especially playing your campaign games, you can sort of like add them into your gangs. Townsfolk, again, got various sort of actions and that they can do and they perform. Then in book 2, so that was the sort of look through the basic rules. As I said, it's only an overview. I'm not going through every single rule and that in the book. This is creating your gang in book 2. The good, the bad, the ugly. So you start out, you can play a pickup game, $150, and you just pick your characters, play your game. Or setting up your campaign, you can roll for your characters. Now, it suggests in here that for 2 players playing, 4 characters, 2 shootists and 2 greenhorns. So again, you would roll on these 2 tables. So you roll 1 set of dice to see what type of character they are and their background, and then another dice for any skills that they might have. So that's cool. And then you've got the same for those, for the gunslinger and the legend. And this is what their skills are. You roll on the skills table. Equipping your characters, you can go to the general store and you can buy their weapons. And again, it gives you the range, how much ammo they carry, and there's generic sort of equipment you can buy from the store. And then some characters like the shootist, gunslinger and legend can go to the gunsmith and he can buy sort of better quality weapons with better traits and that on them. You can buy a Gatling gun, look. And again, it gives you the notes on the weapons, any special rules and that on them. So any sort of sneaky tricks and that you want to do, movable deployment points, ambush points, henchman groups we've talked about. And for a few dice more, this is now setting up your terrain for your campaign. So this is now setting up your campaign here. The main town they got in the centre here, say like in the picture diagram here, they've got Lardville as the main centre of the town. That's where the last scenario is played. You've basically fought around the outskirts and then the outlying areas, and then the final scenarios and that in the town. So I do like that, and where you can create your own sort of map like this by just rolling up the where you're going to be fighting over. So every game, every campaign you play can be different. I think this is the artisan figures at the bottom there. And again, description of the outskirt districts and the outlying territories. And then playing the campaign itself, what scenario you're going to play. And there's all the scenarios, there's 6 scenarios throughout the book, all with different objectives and that in them. So you play your games in your campaign, then the final grand finale, obviously you play in the town, basically control of the town. And then obviously the other thing after you play your games is if your characters been taken out of action and that in the game, you can roll on the wound recovery table, and then that denotes serious wounds, recoveries and everything. And then obviously one of the main things about playing your scenarios is you'll notice when you read the scenarios and that you're trying to grow the reputation and that of your gang. You know, you want to be, you know, the main honcho of your area. So again, certain things can give you extra reputation points. So one, for argument's sake, character completes the game without being killed +2 reputation. So there's a list obviously there that you can see. Enhancing your characters, again, like that, really adding new skills. So again, you're developing as you go, and I do like that. Buying reputation, which is quite a good idea. And then obviously what happens if you've got a bad reputation. So again, been well thought about, I think. Earning income, so again, certain territories or owning territories, and that can give you income. And obviously you can get income from various other sources. So again, loot tables, you've got the territory and benefits that they will give you. So like prairies, no additional benefit. But again, desert, no additional benefit. But if you had the mountains, when a game occurs in this territory, the gang that controls it gains 1 free ambush point. So again, that could be interesting. You know, get ambushed going through the mountains. New recruits, so you roll on the table. If you want to recruit somebody, roll on the table, see you've got. And depending on how far you are into your campaign, this gets adjusted, so you're going to get more experience in recruits coming in. And then obviously balancing your campaign games. So again, I think again that's all been thought out. And again, then credit there with John talking about the game and his thanks and that. So again, I think huge credit to John for putting this together. And one thing I do like is the index, and that the index does follow quite nicely. And at the end of the book, some advertisements. So there we are, guys. As I said, it's only a brief look at the rule book. It's nothing in detail. But my only real initial thoughts I will say is it's a lovely book, and that with that font size and that letter spacing, and that is ideal. And the artwork is superb. I really can't wait to get some games on the table. So I've enjoyed a couple of games, demo games that I've had with John at the shows. I'll have an absolute blast with them. So again, we're sort of looking forward to having this games that here at Battle Bunker HQ. So that's it then, guys. Hope you enjoyed that sort of quick flick through. I'd say it's not a review, nothing like that. It's just I just wanted to get it out there. So if you're going to Salute this weekend, and or if after Salute, if you're watching this in the future and you fancy a different set of Wild West rules, jump on board. These look really, really cool. So until next time, guys, hope you stay safe and happy wargaming.